You know that hour, the one that doesn't belong to day or night, when the city outside has stopped asking questions, and your room becomes the whole world. Tonight we don't study. Tonight we traverse. This is Vocal Dreams, Lo-Fi Study Beats. And for the next hour, you are invited to follow one student through 10 moments of a long, sleepless night. 10 emotional landscapes. 10 ways of being alive inside the silence. The journey begins now. Close your eyes. Let the rain decide. It starts with a sound. 2 piano notes. Just 2, returning again, like a question you've been asking for years without knowing the words. Outside, the rain has come, not the angry kind, the kind that arrives quietly, like an old friend who knows not to knock too hard. The student sits at the window. Fingers trace the condensation on the glass. A note begins to form, not on paper, but on the surface of the night itself. This is where the journey starts, in the space between 2 notes, in the breath before everything changes.
The window holds the sky tonight. Each drop of wood I left behind. I pressed my palm against the cold and felt the world begin to fold. Something stirs beneath the skin, a tide I cannot hold within. The rain, it knows my name again. Rainfall echoes in the hole. I hear the voice before the call. The tears I swallowed one by one are rising now like a second sun. Rainfall echoes. I used to keep my feelings small, fold them neat against the wall. But tonight the seams are worn and something older has been born. The glass is blurred, the world is still, and all I hear is what I feel. The rain, it speaks before I will. Rainfall echoes in the hole. I hear the voice before the call. The tears I swallowed one by one are rising now like a second sun. I didn't know I was asleep until the rain woke me. Echoes rising, calling me home. Rainfall echoes in the hole. I hear the voice before the call. The tears I swallowed one by one are rising now like a second sun.
The pen stops, not from exhaustion, from something stranger. A sound has appeared in the static, faint, almost imagined. The old radio on the shelf has caught something it shouldn't have. A frequency from another decade, another version of tonight. Someone is transmitting through time, a melody, a whisper, a reminder that you are not the first to sit in the dark and wonder. The student leans closer, and for a moment, just a moment, the walls of the room become thin.
I found it in the attic dust, the dial corroded dark with rust. I turned it slow, the static breathed, and something old came underneath. Frequencies that don't belong, half-remembered broken song, a voice that said my name, almost too clear to be a simple ghost. The signal pulls me through the noise, I lean in close to catch the voice. It fades, it comes, it knows the distant frequency calling me home through the static and the dark. I roam, voices from the in-between, saying things I've always meant to say. Calling. A woman laughs from 63, a child recites a lullaby, a man repeats one sentence slow. There's somewhere else that you should go. The broadcast bleeds, the dial slips, I catch the words between the dips, and every ghost that fills the room is pointing past the static bloom. I don't know if I'm tuning in or if the signal lives within. It fades, it comes, it knows my name. Distant frequency calling me home through the static and the dark. I roam, voices from the in-between, saying things I've always meant to say. Frequency calling me home through the static and the dark. I roam, voices from the in-between, saying things I've always meant to say.
The saxophone arrives like a memory you didn't ask for, light-footed, soft-mouthed. It smells faintly of ground coffee and the irreversible past. Before the exams, before the pressure, there was a morning like this, a cafe with steamed windows, notes that hadn't been due yet, the luxury of not knowing what was coming. The brushed snare hisses like a paper page turning, and the student, for 3 minutes, lets go of the night ahead and returns to who they were before all this.
The morning came without a word, just light that spilled across the floor. I cupped my hands around the warmth and asked for nothing anymore. The steam rose slow like quiet thought, the window held a silver sky. I didn't need to understand, I only needed this and I. Before the road, before the noise, before the weight of all my choices, just this cup, this breath, this moment mine. Russian brass and morning air, dreams still tangled in my hair. The coffee speaks what words can't hold, something new begins to unfold. Let it drift like steam between the here and gone. Let it drift. A stranger smiled across the room. We shared a second, nothing more. But in that second lived a world I'd never thought to look for. The nylon strings began to hum. The trumpet said what I'd been thinking, that beauty hides in small delays, in pauses, in the art of drinking. Before the map, before the fear, before I lose what's shining here, just this cup, this brass, this borrowed time. Russian brass and morning air, dreams still tangled in my hair. The coffee speaks what words can't hold, something new begins to unfold. Let it drift like steam between the here and gone. Let it drift. Maybe every great departure starts like this, quietly, with both hands around a cup. I leave the cup, I leave the chair, I carry this warmth everywhere. Russian brass and morning air, dreams still tangled in my hair. The coffee speaks what words can't hold, something new begins to unfold. Let it drift like steam between the here and gone.
The cello doesn't ask permission. It enters like grief, unhurried, inevitable. Down below, the city flickers on. 10,000 windows, 10,000 private silences that look like light from here. The student presses their forehead to the glass. Somewhere out there, someone is eating dinner. Someone is falling asleep mid-sentence. Someone is laughing without knowing why. And here, a single bow, pulling a single note. The full weight of distance makes itself known.
The streetlights blink alive one by one, like questions no one's answering. I press my forehead to the glass and watch the city shimmering. 7 million lives below, each window holds a universe, and I'm the space between the light, the pause inside the universe. I should feel small, I should feel lost, but something vast is worth the cost of standing here alone and still. Isolated bow drawn slow across the strings of all I know. The city plays me like a note, suspended in the twilight throne. Between the burning. A couple argues 2 floors down. A child laughs against the wind. A siren carves the purple sky. And somewhere, someone violin. I catch myself inside their noise, a thread inside a wider weave, alone but stitched into the dark, too tangled now to truly leave. I should reach out, I should call back, but solitude has its own track. It leads me somewhere vast and clear. Isolated bow drawn slow across the strings of all I know. The city plays me like a note, suspended in the twilight throne. I am alone, and I am everything. I am the dark between the burning. I used to think connection meant not being alone. Now I think it means knowing the dark has a shake, and the shake is yours. The bow still moving long after the music stops. Isolated bow drawn slow across the strings of all I know. The city plays me like a note, suspended in the twilight throne. I am alone, and I am everything. I am the dark between the burning. On that street light flickering, window closing softly.
And then, snow. Without announcement, without apology, the first flake lands against the window like a thought that has been falling since the beginning of the night. The vibraphone crystallizes the air, each chord a hexagon of ice. the syncopated drum, a heartbeat refusing to rush. The student stops writing. There are moments that demand to be witnessed. This is one. The world, for exactly 74 beats per minute, holds perfectly still.
It started in the night, while everything was sleeping. One flake, then two, then white, the whole world slowly keeping its silence like a gift, too fragile to be spoken. I watched the city shift to something new and open. The cold doesn't hurt tonight, it clears the air of old remains. Each flake a small white light, dissolving what no longer stays. Something is letting go. Fertile chill across the sky. Every snowflake asks me why I held so tight to what was gone. When all along the world moved on, let it fall. Let it fall. White and clean and merciful. Let it fall. The rooftops where they're white, like they forgot their edges. The park has lost its lines, just curves and gentle edges. A child runs out to catch what cannot be kept holding. I learned from open hands the grace of just beholding. The snow doesn't ask permission, it simply arrives and covers what needs to be forgotten before the soul recovers. Something is beginning. Bird chill across the sky. Every snowflake asks me why I held so tight to what was gone. When all along the world moved on, let it fall. Let it fall. White and clean and merciful. Let it fall. Falling, covering, releasing. All I was, all I carried into white. Under all this silence, I feel something stir. Not grief, not longing, something purer. Foot chill across the sky. Every snowflake asks me why I held so tight to what was gone. When all along the world moved on, let it fall.
The synth pad blooms, and suddenly, warmth. Real warmth, the kind your skin remembers. Last summer, a beach you haven't thought about in months, sand warm enough to burn the soles, sky the color of corals you don't have a name for. The two piano notes repeat, gentle as a heartbeat, and the student is wrapped, briefly, in the memory of a season that asked nothing of them. The lost memories aren't lost. They were waiting in the frequency, in the pad, in the space between two notes.
The tide brought something in tonight. A photograph with blurred edges. The color of a laugh I lost. The shape of half-remembered pledges. I didn't go to find it here. I only came to watch the burning. But the sea has its own agenda, and mine was always its returning. I see your hands inside the wave. I hear your voice beneath the salt. The sun is melting on the water, and I don't know whose fault. Whose fault? Wave fragments carry what I lost. Love letters written at great cost. Your face, your name, that afternoon, dissolving underneath the moon. I reach, but waves don't give back what they keep. I reach. A summer that I thought was mine, a door I left without closing, a word I swallowed on a Tuesday, a hand I held while slowly losing. The sea returns them without context, just pieces, edges, sounds, and whether I catch what I can in both palms and cannot hold them all together. Big boulders draining from the sky, the fragments multiply and blur. I cannot tell which one's the real and which are what I wish had were. What I wish had were. Late fragments carry what I lost. Love letters written at great cost. Your face, your name, that afternoon, dissolving underneath the moon. I reach, but waves don't give back what they keep. I let you go. I let you go into the water, into the gold, drifting, dissolving, returning to the deep, where all lost things finally sleep. We fragments carry what I lost. Love letters written at great cost. Your face, your name, that afternoon, dissolving underneath the reach, but maybe letting go is how we keep. The tide brought something in tonight. The tide brought something in tonight.
There is a room inside every library that no one has entered for years. A single piano chord lives there, suspended, waiting. The student thinks of all the books they haven't read, all the sentences waiting in the dark for a pair of eyes, knowledge, patient, silent, making no demands. The shaker barely whispers, the chord holds. Some sanctuaries are not built from stone. Some are built from the willingness to sit in a room with the things you do not yet understand.
The shelves go on forever here, each title worn to ghost of ink. I run my fingers down the spines and pause at everyone to think. Who loved you last before the dust? Who opened you and wept inside? What margin notes in faded blue record the things they couldn't hide? Every book a room I cannot enter, every page a door left slightly open, every word a voice that loved and lost and chose to leave the wound in writing. Still bleeding, still bleeding. Dusty shelves and bass lines low. Through every love I'll never know. The answers hid between the lines in all these hearts that predate mine. But understanding costs too much to keep. I read. I found one with no title left, just water stains and broken spine. Inside the cover one inscription: to the one who should have been mine. No name, no date, no explanation, just those words in urgent cursive, as if the writer knew the future and wrote the wound before the surface. Every love that didn't make it left its ghost between these pages. Every almost and too late now, filed away in library cages. Still reaching, still reaching. Dusty shelves and bass lines low. Through every love I'll never know. The answers hid between the lines in all these hearts that predate mine. I read. But understanding costs too much to keep. I read. All these voices locked in paper, all these hearts felt and forgotten, and yet somehow they kept me company tonight. Shelves upon shelves of souls who loved and couldn't hold it, so they wrote it down. And here I am reading, finally reading. Dusty shelves and bass lines low. Through every love I'll never know. The answers hid between the lines in all these hearts that predate mine. And in their wounds I finally read my own. I read, I read, I read, I read.
Now, sorry. On the final page, try to little letter.
The arpeggio climbs, 2 notes, ascending, repeating, like a departure that never fully arrives at its destination. The student is half asleep now. The abandoned station drifts through the half-dream. Platforms you last stood on 3 years ago. Faces you watched disappear into the noise of a train. Goodbyes are strange things. They don't end. They loop, like vintage synthesizer patterns, like radio interference through a closed window in the middle of the night. The arpeggio keeps climbing. No one arrives, no one leaves. The echo plays on.
Platform 9 has no more trains. The schedule boards are frozen still. The last departure left its ghost, a breath of diesel, cold and shrill. I read the names of destinations, cities I was meant to reach. Each one a life I almost lived, each one a word just out of reach. The clocks still move, the trains do not. The only thing that I've still got is this platform, this pulse, this weight. Ghost platform pulse beneath my feet, the rhythm of the incomplete. I missed the last train out of here, or maybe it was never clear. Still waiting, still waiting. The rails hum something like hope, still waiting. I see the others who stood here in photographs yellowed at the edge. A soldier with a cardboard case, a bride who made a platform pledge. They all got somewhere in the end, or disappeared inside the try. And here I stand between their ghosts, not quite arriving, never quite leaving. The rails still sing of somewhere else, of someone who became themselves by stepping on a train and gone. Ghost platform pulse beneath my feet, the rhythm of the incomplete. I missed the last train out of here, or maybe it was never clear. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting.
bouncing off iron and stone before disappearing. The schedule boards are blank now. I pick up the chalk. Somewhere down the line, a light. Not arriving, not departing, just becoming. Ghost platform pulse beneath my feet, the rhythm of the incomplete. I missed the last train out of here, or maybe this never formed. Was always the departure, still waiting, still waiting. The rails hum something like home, still waiting.
And then the guitar opens the sky. The student looks up. The window that was a wall becomes a lens. Stars, not metaphors, not symbols, actual light that has been traveling for 10,000 years to land in these eyes tonight. Every note of the arpeggio is a constellation assembling itself in real time. Every chord, an entire universe deciding to exist. Whatever felt heavy an hour ago, it is still there, but now it is small. Now it is held inside something so much larger than fear. Breathe. You are made of the same material as all of this.
Field and let the sky become the floor. The stars rearrange themselves for me into a map of something more. Each light up there left home so long before my grief had any name. Traveled all this way to reach me, arriving anyway, the same. My problems have a size tonight, and that size is very small against the burning of 10,000 suns that don't own me at all. And yet I feel held. Shimmer pad across the endless dark. I am a breath, I am a spark. My sorrow small as grains of light dissolved into this infinite night. Let me go, let me go, let me go into the shimmer, into the vast. Let me go. scars I thought were ending chapters are right up here as integral. The cosmos doesn't grade our pain, it holds it all with equal light. The ones who broke and the ones who shone are both just stardust, burning bright. And so am I. Shimmer pad across the endless dark. I am a breath, I am a spark. My sorrow small as grains of light, dissolved into this infinite night. Let me go, let me go, let me go into the shimmer, into the vast. Let me go. Each note a star being born somewhere at an circle. I am not lost in all of this. I am the reason all of this. Has someone left to wonder at it? Made of stars, returning to stars. Briefly, briefly, a name. Briefly, a dream. Shimmer pad across the endless stars. 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 Shimmer pad across the endless dark. I am a breath, I am a spark. My sorrow small as grains of light, dissolved into this infinite night. Let me go, my dreams, my dreams are the size of everything. Let me go, my dreams are everything. Let me go, let me go. Of all of this.
The saxophone returns, but it is different now. Lighter, unguarded. It has been somewhere and come back changed. Dawn doesn't announce itself. It simply is. First the gray, then the green, then the impossible pink of a sky that has forgotten everything that happened in the dark. The student puts down the pen, not because the work is finished, but because the night is, and they are still here, still whole, still curious about what comes next. The mist erases the edges of things, and for a moment, everything breathes.
The mist is still deciding whether to stay or go. I make my tea in silence and watch the morning grow. The chimes outside are talking in their small glass language about the night that's ending and what the day will manage. I've been here before the light, I know the dark by name now, and still the morning finds me still here, still whole somehow. I carried every question through rain and snow and static, through platforms, waves and starlights, through everything that mattered. And here I am, still breathing, and here I am, still warm. Condensation chimes at dawn, the fog lifts everything I've worn. The weight, the grief, the long way home, all beautiful now that I've grown. I am not the same, I am not the same, and that is not a loss. I'm not the same. I think of all the places, the rain against the pane, the radio of ghost voices, the cafe in the rain, the city lights at twilight, the snowflake on my palm, the waves that kept my fragments, the library so calm, the platform and the cosmos, the silence between stars. I brought them all back with me as maps instead of scars. I thought the journey broke me, I thought I'd lose my edges, but every place I wandered just sharpened what was precious. And here I stand, completed, not finished, just begun. Condensation chimes at dawn, the fog lifts everything I've worn. The weight, the grief, the long way home, all beautiful now that I've grown. I'm not the same, I'm not the same, and that is the whole point. I'm not the same. Answering like a question, finally at peace. Upright piano underneath like sunlight stood him. The mist is lifting now, I see the garden clearly. Every leaf is holding light as if it knows me. Home, not a place, a frequency. I carried it the whole time, I carried it. Condensation chimes at dawn, the fog lifts everything I've worn. The weight, the grief, the long way home, all beautiful now that I've grown. I'm not the same, I'm not the same. I walk through rain and radio static, through snow and waves. dusty shelves, through platforms, stars and morning magic, and I came back. And I came back, not to where I started, to where I was always meant to arrive.
You've reached the other side. 10 stations, 10 ways of being alive in the dark. One student, one night, one thread of melody that held everything together when everything else felt loose. If tonight moved something in you, if one of these landscapes felt like yours, then this journey was made for exactly that moment. Vocal Dreams Lo-Fi Study Beats continues in its full 4-hour instrumental form on our main channel. No transitions, no narration, just the music, vast and uninterrupted, for every long night still to come. Find the link in the description. Stay as long as you need. Until the next white night of the soul, this is Vocal Dreams. Take care of the silence. It takes care of you.